One crisp autumn morning, I met Mary at the park. She was walking slowly beneath the falling leaves, her face glowing, eyes bright like someone much younger. We struck up a conversation, and she said something that stayed with me. "I've been walking every day for the past 20 years, she said, "but lately my knees ache more and my back gets tired faster. It makes me wonder, am I doing something wrong?" Mary's question is one that many people over 70 should be asking themselves. We've always believed that walking is the best exercise for seniors, but today's health experts are starting to say walking alone is not enough. In fact, if you rely only on walking and ignore other important factors, you might actually be accelerating aging instead of slowing it down. So in today's video, we're going to uncover 6 things even more important than walking. Things every person over 70 should know if they want to live longer, stay healthier, and keep moving with confidence. These aren't complicated tricks or hard-to-follow routines. They're small actions you can start today. But if you ignore them, you risk losing your mobility, balance, and even your independence over time. If you truly want to stay strong, sharp, and self-reliant for years to come, stick with me until the end of the video. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit subscribe so you won't miss the next video packed with valuable tips just for you. Now let's move on to number 1. Why strength matters more than steps. Evelyn is 74 years old. She lives alone and takes a morning walk around the neighborhood park, something she's done faithfully for over 20 years. She always believed, the more I walk, the healthier I'll be. But one day, she bent down to pick up a handkerchief from the floor and couldn't stand back up without holding onto a chair. That unfamiliar feeling stopped her in her tracks. She had taken thousands of steps every day, and yet her legs trembled trying to rise from the ground. So why did this happen, even though she had been walking all along? The truth is, walking only engages a limited set of muscles, mostly the lower legs. And even then, the intensity isn't enough to prevent sarcopenia, the natural loss of muscle mass that accelerates with age. After age 70, we lose about 3 to 5% of muscle mass per decade on average. This doesn't just make us weaker, it increases the risk of falls, poor balance, and ultimately, the loss of independence. What Evelyn was missing wasn't movement, it was strength. That's why aging experts from Mayo Clinic and Harvard agree, adults over 70 should do strength training at least twice a week to maintain muscle mass and independent function. Now that doesn't mean lifting heavy weights at the gym. For older adults, simple exercises like sitting and standing from a chair, lifting water bottles, or using light resistance bands are more than enough to preserve core strength. You could walk for an hour every day and still struggle to carry a pot of soup or get up from the floor after a fall. Steps don't guarantee independence, strength does. The lesson is clear. If you're already walking every day, keep going. But if you haven't started strength training yet, start today. Just 10 minutes a day can make a meaningful difference. And if you think walking alone is enough to protect your balance, wait until you hear the next point. Because what comes next is even more important than muscle. It's your ability to stay steady when life throws you off balance. Number 2, balance is the new strength. At 74, Henry fell in his kitchen while reaching for a spice jar on a high shelf. He wasn't seriously injured, but the real scar was left on his pride. "I didn't think a little loss of balance could leave me lying helpless on the cold floor," he recalled. After that fall, Henry started avoiding stairs, limited his outdoor walks, and over time, his world shrank to just a few steps inside his apartment. Henry's story isn't uncommon. After age 70, balance, something we often take for granted, becomes one of the most critical factors for longevity and independence. According to the Journal of Geriatric Medicine, poor balance is directly linked to higher risks of falling, hospitalization, and even early mortality. But here's the problem. Most people don't pay attention to balance until it's gone. Unlike strength training, where progress is easy to track, you lift heavier weights, balance training is subtle, quiet, but that's exactly what makes it so essential. You don't realize your balance is slipping until you miss a step. You don't feel yourself growing unsteady until you have to grip a handrail just to feel safe. The good news? Like muscle, balance can be trained and improved. Simple exercises like standing on one leg, heel-to-toe walking, or even gentle Tai Chi can gradually restore your body's ability to stay centered. You don't need a gym or expensive equipment, just a safe, flat surface and a little consistency. The lesson from Henry's story is clear. It's not the fall that takes away your freedom, it's stopping your effort to prevent the fall. And sadly, that's what most people forget. Look around. Have you, or someone you love, started reaching for the wall when walking down a hallway? Has it become difficult to balance on one foot to put on socks? These are signs it's time to act, even if you've never fallen before. So yes, keep walking. Walking is great, but now's the time to go beyond just moving, start balancing. The stability in every step you take is the key to the years ahead. And once you begin rebuilding strength and steadiness from within, it's time to turn your attention to another often overlooked factor that greatly affects your independence: joint flexibility and mobility. We'll explore that in the next part. Number 3, strengthening your core, the foundation of stability and freedom. Picture this. You're sitting in a soft armchair, golden afternoon light streaming through the window. You decide to get up and make yourself a warm cup of tea. But as you press your hands down and try to stand, your back feels tight, your abdomen doesn't engage, and the simple movement feels heavier than you remember. That small moment reveals something big. Your core strength, the center of your body, is starting to fade. Most people don't think of their abs, lower back, and hips as the quiet heroes of aging well. But in reality, these are the very muscles that determine whether you sit tall or slump, stand firm or wobble, fall or stay balanced. Take Gerald, 74, a retired bus driver. He still walks every morning, but lately he noticed he couldn't twist around as easily or bend down to tie his shoes without losing his balance. A visit to a physical therapist revealed the issue wasn't his legs, it was his core, which had weakened over time and could no longer support his movements. From that day, Gerald began adding small exercises to his daily routine, engaging his abs while brushing his teeth, leaning against the wall to practice balance, and simply sitting up straight during meals. After 2 months, not only did he feel more stable and confident walking, but he also noticed his mood improving. He felt more energized and in control. So what's the takeaway? After 70, core strength isn't just about posture, it's your anchor. It keeps your spine aligned, reduces back pain, improves breathing, and lowers your risk of falling. And the best part, you don't need fancy workouts, just consistent, intentional movements every day. When your core is strong, it's like planting roots deep into the ground. You feel centered, every step becomes steadier, every morning feels lighter. And once you've built a strong foundation, it's time to unlock another crucial element, something often overlooked but essential for fluid, comfortable movement: joint flexibility and muscle mobility. That's what we'll explore next. Number 4, breath. The forgotten rhythm of life. Of all the things aging gradually takes from us, one of the most silent and most vital is our breath. It's not as obvious as muscle loss or joint pain, but a weakening breath is often the first sign that vitality is slipping away. And yet, so few people pay attention to it. Think back to when you were younger. Just a brisk walk could leave your chest rising and falling with energy. But now, as the years pass, even a slightly faster pace can leave you gasping, as if the air itself has become harder to find. Helen, 76, is a perfect example. She still walks every morning in the park, as regular as clockwork. But lately, after just a couple of laps, she finds herself needing longer breaks. She assumed it was just normal aging. But during a checkup, her doctor revealed something surprising. Her lung function had dropped by nearly 30%, despite her heart and lungs being otherwise healthy. The reason? She had never trained her breath to stay open and strong. Breath is the bridge between your body and life itself. But as we age, we tend to breathe shallowly, using only the upper chest rather than filling our entire lungs. This limits oxygen exchange, leading to fatigue, dizziness, poor sleep, and even memory issues. The solution isn't an oxygen tank or a lung supplement. It's simply learning how to breathe deeply again. Basic diaphragmatic breathing, like inhaling for a count of 4, holding for 4, and exhaling slowly for 6, can noticeably improve lung function in just a few weeks. Making deep breathing a daily habit is like watering your nervous system. It clears the mind, lowers stress, boosts immune health, and helps you sleep better. All through something you already have, your breath. So the next time you feel winded walking up the stairs, don't just say, "I'm getting old." Say, "It's time to return to my breath and start living more fully again." Once you start breathing deeper, energy begins to rise from within. You'll find yourself moving with more ease, thinking more clearly, as if you've rolled back a few years. And that sets the stage perfectly for what comes next, something often overlooked, but deeply essential to aging independently: joint flexibility and the power of small, mindful movements. Let's dive in. Number 5, your legs, the foundation of lasting independence. Many people assume that as they age, weak knees, sore legs, and difficulty getting up and down are simply inevitable. They gradually accept using a cane, walking slower, or even avoiding going outside out of fear of falling. But here's something few people realize. Your legs, the very part of your body you've relied on your entire life, are often the first to signal that your body is declining. And more importantly, they're also one of the greatest keys to preserving independence in later life. Fred, now 81, was once a vibrant, energetic man who moved with ease wherever he went. But around age 76, he began to notice changes. Getting up from a chair took longer, stairs left him breathless, and crouching down required support just to stand back up. At first, he brushed it off. That's just aging, right? Until the day he had a minor fall in the bathroom. No major injuries, but it was a wake-up call. He went to see a physical therapist who told him something few older adults ever hear. Weak legs aren't just part of aging, they're often the result of underuse. From that day on, Fred committed to a simple, at-home strength routine. No gym, no fancy equipment, just slow sit-to-stands from a chair without arms, heel raises at the kitchen sink, and gentle side steps across his living room. Within just 2 months, he felt a dramatic difference. His steps were steadier, his fear of falling was gone, and most importantly, he felt back in control of his body. If you're over 70 and can still rise from a chair without using your hands, walk up a few stairs without needing to stop, or balance while reaching overhead, those aren't just good signs. They're powerful reminders that you still have agency over your daily life. And if you struggle with those tasks right now, don't worry. Muscle can be rebuilt at any age with the right effort and consistency. One of the strongest messages echoed by experts in aging is this: leg strength is the foundation of senior freedom. No one wants to feel dependent, and your legs are what keep you free. Not with pills, but with simple, steady movement done the right way. And once your legs are steady beneath you, the next step is often overlooked, but just as critical to long-term clarity and vitality: sleep. In the next part, we'll dive into why deep, restorative rest may be the final piece in your longevity puzzle. Number 6, a good night's sleep is the start of a stronger day. Think back to this morning. How did you feel when you woke up? Refreshed, light, and ready to take on the day? Or groggy, heavy, and not in the mood for anything at all? After 70, sleep isn't just about getting enough. It becomes a deep indicator of your overall health. Your body may no longer regenerate as rapidly as it did in your 30s, but it still has a remarkable ability to heal, if you give it the right conditions. And sleep is your body's most natural repair shop. Helen, now 78, once told me that every time she had a bad night's sleep, she felt like she aged 5 years overnight. For a long time she thought, I'm old, maybe poor sleep is just normal now. But when her body aches lingered and her memory began to slip, she knew something had to change. She started with the smallest things: no tea after 4 p.m., turning off the TV earlier, and replacing her harsh white nightlight with a soft amber glow. To her surprise, within a week, she was sleeping through the night again. No more tossing and turning, no more waking up exhausted, and no more forgetting where she put her keys. Sleep experts all agree, older adults don't need more sleep, they need better sleep. A solid 6-7 hours of deep, uninterrupted rest can boost immunity, help muscles recover, sharpen memory, and lift your mood. On the other hand, chronic sleep deprivation increases your risk of heart disease, depression, and cognitive decline. Here's one small habit you can try starting tonight: keep a consistent bedtime, even on weekends. Your body is incredibly smart. When you train it to follow a regular rhythm, it naturally begins to wind down and wake up at the same times each day. It's a simple adjustment that can lead to powerful results. And remember, good sleep isn't a luxury, it's a right. And more than that, it's your responsibility to give yourself the rest you deserve. Because when you sleep well, you don't just restore your body, you recharge your mind. You wake up with clarity, with energy, and with a spirit that's ready to engage with the world. Which brings us to one final piece of the longevity puzzle. Something often overlooked, yet perhaps the most important factor in how happy and long you live: your connection to others. Number 7. Stay connected to stay alive. There's something fascinating that science has proven again and again. Loneliness is just as harmful to your health as smoking. It weakens your immune system, increases the risk of stroke, and can even shorten your lifespan. But when we maintain positive relationships, even just a few close ones, our hearts grow stronger and life feels lighter. Take Mr. Thomas, 81 years old. He lived alone for years after his wife passed. At first he thought he was fine. He had routines, tidying up, watching the news, eating meals on time, taking daily walks. But there was one thing quietly draining the life out of him: the silence. Day after day looked the same. No one to talk to, no laughter around the dinner table, no one asking, "How are you feeling today?" His physical health didn't decline suddenly, but as he lost motivation, he started forgetting things. He felt disconnected. It wasn't until an old friend invited him to a cooking class for seniors at a local community center that things began to shift. Not because of the food, but because of the conversations, the soft laughter over messy cutting boards, the friendly hand on his shoulder. Mr. Thomas came back to life. He said, "I didn't realize how much I was missing until I got a little bit of it back." Social connection doesn't mean noise or big crowds. It could be one person who truly listens, one phone call every week, a small walking group, or a morning game of chess. These simple things can have a deep impact on your mood, memory, and overall health. In fact, a long-term study from Harvard found that seniors with strong, positive relationships live longer, have fewer chronic illnesses, and report significantly higher levels of happiness. So if you've been living alone or feel like your circle is shrinking, don't hesitate to reach out. Call an old friend. Join a local class. Smile at your neighbor. Each door you open could lead to a new connection and keep you feeling young in ways you didn't expect. Because in the end, living a long life isn't just about healthy food or regular exercise. It's also about having people who remind you that you still matter, that you're still part of something, and that you still belong. Now that we've built a foundation of physical strength, mental clarity, and emotional connection, there's just one more piece that brings it all together. One final ingredient that many forget when talking about longevity: living with purpose. And that's where we're heading next. Number 8, living with purpose, the silent engine of longevity. If you've ever met an older adult who seems full of energy and vibrancy, even in their 80s, chances are they all have one thing in common. They wake up each day with a reason, not out of duty, but out of meaning. Lucille, an 84-year-old woman living in Oregon, is a perfect example. She's not particularly athletic. She doesn't follow a special diet or exercise routine, but she does have a small garden and a group of neighborhood kids she teaches art to every Wednesday afternoon. Every morning I wake up thinking about those kids. They're waiting for me. I can't miss it. She said with a warm smile when asked how she stays so upbeat year after year. Science agrees. Numerous long-term studies, including one published in Psychological Science, show that older adults who feel a strong sense of purpose experience less depression, fewer illnesses, and significantly longer lifespans. What's remarkable is that purpose doesn't have to be something grand. It doesn't mean writing a book or building a legacy. It can be as simple as caring for a houseplant, writing letters to your grandchildren, baking every Sunday, or calling an old friend every Monday morning. It's about having a reason to get out of bed and feel like today matters. Of course, there are those who lose that sense along the way. James, 79, was once a mechanical engineer. After retiring, he felt like the world no longer needed him. He had no one to teach, nowhere to go. One day at the library, he noticed a flyer for a volunteer tutoring program. He signed up and hasn't missed a session since. When that boy looked at me and said, "Now I get it," I felt useful again, he recalled, his eyes shining. Having a purpose not only lifts the spirit, it literally changes the body. It boosts immune function, lowers inflammation, improves sleep, and lights a fire that spreads through both mind and body. So if you've ever asked yourself, what am I living for now? Remember, your purpose doesn't have to be profound. It just needs to make you feel needed, connected, and meaningful. Because when you combine daily movement, strong relationships, mental clarity, restful sleep, and a reason to keep going, you don't just live longer. You live fully. If you're still here with me at this final moment, I believe a part of you is ready for a new chapter. Not just to live longer, but to live better. We've talked about muscle strength, balance, heart rate, and sleep. But beneath all of that lies something deeper. The fact that you're still alert enough to ask yourself, can I be better? And just that question alone is a clear sign that you're still moving forward. Aging is not the end. It's simply another chapter, one you get to write with intention, with understanding, and with love for your own body. You don't need to become an athlete. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start today with one small stretch, one positive thought, one gentle act of care for yourself. And remember this, you are not alone. Millions of people your age are standing at the same starting line, listening to messages like this, choosing to live mindfully rather than simply letting the days pass them by. If this video gave you something, whether a lesson, a bit of hope, or simply the feeling of being seen, I'd love for you to leave a comment. Just type the number 1 to let me know you're here, you're listening, and you're still on this journey. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share this video with someone you care about, because living a healthy life isn't just a personal choice, it's a gift you can give yourself and the people who love you. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue learning how to live slower, deeper, and more beautifully, no matter our age.